For 58 days, my son believed I was slowly disappearing. He didn't call, he didn't visit. He didn't ask whether I had enough food, whether my bills were paid, or whether I was still waking up every morning. He simply assumed that an old man living alone would eventually die quietly, and perhaps the cruelest part was that he had already decided what would happen afterward. He would return, handle the funeral, sell the house, and move on with his life. At least that was what I believed. My name is Daniel Carter, and I was 69 years old when my son Michael stopped speaking to me. It wasn't because we had always hated each other. Quite the opposite. I had spent my entire life trying to give Michael everything I never had when his mother died. I became both parents. I worked long hours, repaired broken cars, delivered packages on weekends, and saved every spare dollar for his future. I paid for his college. I helped him buy his first apartment. When he married, I gave him the savings I had planned to use for my retirement, because he told me his family needed a fresh start. I never complained, but somewhere along the way, Michael began seeing me as an obligation instead of a father. The final argument happened on an ordinary Tuesday evening. Michael stood in my kitchen, staring at me with frustration. "You can't keep living like this, Dad." I looked at him like, what? Alone in this old house? Refusing help, you're getting older. I smiled sadly. I don't need someone following me around. "You don't understand," he said. "I have my own family now." Those words hurt more than he probably realized. I nodded, "I know." He grabbed his jacket. "Maybe we should take a break." I thought he meant a few days. I was wrong the next morning. I received one final text. "Don't call me, I'll come back when things calm down." Then silence. 1 day passed. Then 5, then 10. I kept expecting my phone to ring. It didn't by the 20th day. I stopped checking every hour. By the 30th, I stopped expecting him entirely. But what Michael didn't know was that I had been preparing for something he could never imagine. Several years earlier, my father had taught me a simple lesson. Never let your children become your only plan for old age. I had never forgotten it, so while Michael believed I was helpless, I had quietly built a life he knew nothing about. For years, I had restored old properties as a hobby. One small house had become a rental. Then another I invested carefully. Nothing spectacular, nothing flashy, but eventually those investments grew. The old man Michael thought was sitting alone, waiting to die, had actually built enough wealth to live comfortably for the rest of his life still. Money wasn't what I wanted. I wanted my son. On the 38th day, I received a letter. It wasn't from Michael. It was from a lawyer. The letter explained that a property investment I had made years ago had been unexpectedly sold at a significant profit. I stared at the figure on the page. I had almost forgotten about that property. Then I smiled, not because of the money, because suddenly I knew exactly what I needed to do. I didn't call Michael. I didn't tell him. Instead, I made several arrangements quietly. On day 45, I hired a small team to renovate the house. On day 50, I moved several valuable belongings into storage. On day 54, I met with my attorney. And on day 58, everything changed. That morning, I received a message from Michael.
"Dad, I'm coming tomorrow."
There was no apology, no explanation. Just 3 words, I replied. "Okay." The next afternoon, his car pulled into the driveway. Michael stepped out. He looked nervous. His wife stayed in the passenger seat. Their 2 children remained inside. Michael walked toward the front door. He knocked, no answer. He knocked again, still nothing. Then he tried the handle. The door opened. He stepped inside and froze. The house looked completely different. The old furniture was gone. The walls had been repainted. The kitchen had been renovated. There were boxes everywhere. Michael turned pale. "Dad." No answer. He ran from room to room. "Dad." Then he saw the empty bedroom. The bed was gone. The closet was empty. The room looked as if nobody had lived there for years. Michael's breathing became heavier. He rushed outside. That's when he saw the sign in the front yard. "Property sold." His face turned white. His wife stepped out of the car. What happened? Michael stared at the sign. I don't know then. A black SUV pulled into the driveway. A man in a suit stepped out. Are you Michael Carter? Yes. The man handed him an envelope. Your father asked me to give you this. Michael's hands began shaking. He opened it. Inside was a letter. Michael, if you're reading this, you've finally come back for 58 days. I wondered whether you would. I want you to understand something. I never needed you to save me. I needed you to remember that I was your father. You thought I was sitting here alone waiting for death. But while you were gone, I realized something. Being alone isn't the same as being abandoned. I was alone, you abandoned me. There is a difference. The house has been sold. The proceeds have been placed into a trust for my grandchildren. You will not receive the money directly. I don't want my grandchildren to suffer because of the mistakes their father made. As for me, I have already moved. I have a new home near the lake. It's smaller, quieter, and peaceful. Don't come looking for me because you think I am dying. Come only if you finally want to know your father. Michael stopped reading. Tears filled his eyes. His wife looked at him. Michael. He couldn't answer. He sat down on the front steps and covered his face. For the first time in 58 days, he finally understood what he had done. He hadn't abandoned a helpless old man. He had abandoned the person who had spent his entire life believing in him. That evening, Michael drove to the address written at the bottom of the letter. He found his father sitting outside a small lakeside home. Daniel looked up. Neither man spoke. Michael slowly walked toward him. Then he dropped to his knees. Dad, I'm sorry. Daniel stared at his son. I know. I thought you were going to die alone. Daniel looked toward the lake. I almost did. Michael began crying. I was wrong, yes. Daniel said quietly. You were. Michael expected anger instead. His father reached toward the empty chair beside him. Sit down. Michael sat for several minutes. Neither said anything. Then Daniel spoke. You don't owe me money. You don't owe me a house. You don't even owe me your time every day. Michael looked at him. Then what do I owe you? Daniel smiled. Nothing. Michael's eyes filled again. Then what can I do? His father looked directly at him. Start by becoming the son I raised. That sentence broke whatever remained of Michael's pride. He hugged his father, and for the first time in 58 days, Daniel allowed himself to cry. The story didn't end with a mansion, a fortune, or revenge. It ended with something much more valuable. A son finally realizing that parents don't always ask for money. They don't always ask for gifts. Sometimes they only want one phone call, one visit, one simple question. Dad, are you okay? Michael never forgot those 58 days. Neither did Daniel, because sometimes people don't understand the value of someone until they believe that person is gone. And sometimes the greatest lesson you can give someone isn't to punish them. It's to let them discover on their own what they almost lost.